This conference will now be recorded.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the May 24th, 2022 Planning Commission. Our next agenda item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Greg, will you do the roll call?
Trevor Dunbach.
Here.
Tim Dugan.
Here.
Andrew Flagg.
Here.
Brian Height.
Here.
Diane Kelly.
Here.
Mark Luth.
Here.
David Wilson.
Here.
7 members present, sufficient for a quorum.
Also, for the benefit of those participating virtually, I'd like to introduce our Township Solicitor, Joe Zader, our Assistant Township Engineer, Tony Talarita, Greg Adams, our Planner, and Director of Community Development, Dave Manhart, who has an introduction to make.
And we have Robert Emanuel, who was an intern with us for almost a year, 2 years, as he went through grad school with Temple University. He's a recent graduate, and we brought him on as part-time. So welcome, Robert.
Congratulations. Greg, will you do the meeting rules?
Absolutely. For an orderly meeting wherein all attendees may be able to fully participate, we ask that you adhere to the following rules. Please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid background noise that may cause interference in the meeting and make it difficult for others to hear. Staff may mute the microphones of remote attendees if needed. Public questions and comments will be taken at periodic intervals throughout the agenda. We will start with no time limits, but the Planning Commission Chairman may impose a time limitation if there are many questions or if the meeting is running short on time. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed and state your name, address, and comment or question. Please turn on the podium microphone before speaking and off when done. For remote attendees, the chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your full name and address in the chat box, which is indicated by the speech balloon icon in the upper right. When you are recognized and so directed, please unmute your microphone and state your comment or question. Mute your microphone when done. For those who are accessing the meeting by phone only, staff will periodically ask for caller comments and unmute all callers. Callers must identify their name and address prior to making a comment. Your cooperation and adherence with these rules will ensure an orderly and respectful meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. Our next agenda item is the approval of minutes, and we have none. We're going to deviate a little bit from the agenda to introduce new planning commissioners and old commissioners. We have an election of officers later in the agenda, and we think it's important that the public and other commissioners get to know each other. So I will begin. I am Brian Height. I currently serve as vice chair of the Planning Commission for the last 3 years. I've been a planning commissioner for 12 years, 52-year resident of the township, and I work at the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission as a transportation planner. So, go next.
I'll go next. David Wilson, pretty much a lifelong resident of the Lehigh Valley. I grew up in Bethlehem. I bought my first home in South Whitehall Township in 2009. In terms of my professional life, I'm a registered professional civil engineer in Pennsylvania and I believe 9 other states. I'm a certified professional in erosion and sediment control. I got my BS in civil engineering from Lehigh University, Masters of Science in civil engineering from Villanova University. In terms of personal, I have an 8-year-old daughter, 4-year-old daughter. So the impacts to the township are very important to me. My daughters are going to be growing up in this township. That's pretty much it.
Go ahead, Diane. You have seniority.
Thank you. I'm Diane Kelly. I've been a member of this Planning Commission for nearly 4 years. I'm also a elected official. I'm a member of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners. I'm in my 3rd year of my first term, and I am retired from my professional career, which was management in the dental field.
My name is Mark Luth. I am a 48-year resident of South Whitehall Township and currently the president of Lehigh Engineering, located in Walnutport, a small engineering firm with about 30 employees. I have 4 kids in Parkland School District at this time. And I was on the zoning hearing board for about 8 years and probably a little under a year here.
All right, I'll go next. Tim Dugan. I've been a South Whitehall resident for the majority of my life, 30 plus years. Similar to many other commissioners here, or planning commission members, I have 2 children, an 8-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. Like David mentioned, they do observe a lot of what's occurring in the township. Professionally, I work for DCNR, Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, in the Bureau of Forestry. And I'm a district manager, a forester by training from Penn State. And I cover the Poconos currently, but I've worked in the Southeast for 10 plus years before that.
My name is Trevor Dunbach. I'm a new member of the Planning Commission here, but my wife and I have lived in South Whitehall for about 6 years now. Professionally, I practice geotechnical and environmental engineering for a national company. We have an office in the Fogelsville area of about 25 professionals. In general, my 2-year-old keeps my wife and I very busy, so that's why I'm here. All the things happening in the township, we just want to see how things turn out, and that's about me.
I'm Andy Flagg. I've been a resident in South Whitehall for 16 years, coming down here from New York as part of the original crew that brought Olympus to the Lehigh Valley. I have 3 children, all of which went through the Parkland School District and have all left our house except for one. I am currently working for a large consumer electronics company based in New York City as their national sales manager. So I am in awe of my fellow commissioners. I'm sorry, commissioners is the right word or not? Sure. Commissioners who have far more knowledge of planning, and I hope to learn from them and participate in the process as well.
There's nothing wrong with learning. That's how I started. And it ended up being a second career for me. So, okay, our next agenda item is the comprehensive plan preview. Mr. Manhart?
So we just had a meeting last week, so not much new to report. We do have a meeting with staff to go over the community utilities. We are bringing in Public Works utility staff to kind of go over that, to look at goals and objectives, recommendations, strategies for the workshop meeting June 7th. I don't know why I can't remember the date, but June 7th. We'll present the community utility goals and objectives and then dig into community facilities and housing.
Are we still thinking of having our normal scheduled planning commission meeting be a comp plan?
We can talk. I think we can, yeah. We have to kind of figure out details of it because transportation's up next.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. So I want to kind of, maybe we divide that one into 2 meetings, but we'll discuss that at our meeting Thursday.
Okay.
Try and come up with a strategy for that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Our next agenda item is the subdivision review. Our one and only project this evening is Ridge Farm Final Plan Phase 1B, Major Plan 2017-101. This is a request for final plan review. And Greg, will you do the staff presentation?
Absolutely. This is an application to develop the properties located at 1802 North Cedar Crest Boulevard, which is the northwest corner of the Walbert Avenue Cedar Crest Boulevard intersection. The plan proposes 5 apartment buildings containing a total of 60 units, not 6, 14 2-unit dwelling units, which is 7 pairs of twins, the continuation of Yellowstone Road, Road M and its intersection with Cedar Crest Boulevard, and a portion of Road H, and Basins 3 and 4 and associated stormwater management facilities on a 13.2 acre portion of the 31.9644 acre tract. The property is zoned R10 and TND residential cluster overlay and is being developed as a TND residential cluster overlay. K. Walbert LLC is the equitable owner and the applicant. I will just go to the recommendation. The Community Development Department recommends that the Planning Commission take the plan under advisement to afford the applicant the time necessary to address the reviewing agency's comments. Our recommendation is contingent upon the applicant granting the township a waiver from the time frame in which to act upon the plan. The Planning Commission's soft deadline to act on the plan is June 20th. The Board of Commissioners' hard deadline to act on the plan is July 20th, 2022.
Thank you, Greg. And now it's the applicant presentation. Attorney Preston, if you would introduce anybody you have with you, or that'd be great.
My name is Jim Preston. Jason Engelhardt and Rob Hoffman are on vacation, but we're fortunate to have an equally competent engineer from Langen, Mr. Tom Dredge here, if we have any questions for him. And Mr. Flagg, I can tell you after doing this for several decades, I'm constantly learning things. I've just learned that there are at least 4 engineers on this panel that are, I'm sure, giving this their full attention. We've gone through the packet and we've gotten the comments. There's really nothing there that we take issue with. I see that the township is requesting a phase-specific traffic study. We don't have any issue with that. Of course, we have to prepare it. So we'll be working on that. I don't know what else to tell you other than we reviewed the comments. We're working through them. As Greg said, Tom is here if you have any questions for him engineering wise. But other than that, we're here to receive any comments or questions that you might have at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a few comments just for the audience. To give it an overview of the big picture, the conditional use of this project got approved a few years ago, and the preliminary plans of the overall project was approved back in October. So now we're really zeroing in on a specific portion of that project, which is phase 1B, which you can see on the television screens, where the roads are in the green, the bright green areas. So this phase, we're primarily really getting into the nitty-gritty engineering and traffic studies, which the attorney indicated that they will comply with the comments, and there's a fair bit of work to do with that they have to work through with our staff and township staff and engineering.
Are there any additional questions or comments from the Planning Commission?
I think Pidcock did a fine job in the review. I don't know that you're here tonight to look for any sort of approval. It's just it's a matter of whether we had any questions or that there's any public questions on this particular phase. Obviously, you guys are doing your work and homework, so good.
I just had one question. Phase 1B actually had another portion on the east side of Cedar Crest. Is there, can you help the Planning Commission understand what the timing will be to do that part of the 1B phase?
Yeah, so I think the phasing plan will need to be updated. I know that there was a previous version had phase 1B that had some additional apartments on the east side. That's no longer the case. So I'm not sure exactly which phase that will fall into, but it's not part of the current phase 1B in front of us right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further from the Planning Commission? Seeing none, now it's the opportunity for the public, courtesy of the floor. Any questions or comments from the public? Anything online? Okay, Attorney Preston, you're willing to give us a time extension? Verbally and... Okay. Sir, we're at the moment of the courtesy of the floor. If you have any questions or comments on the project. Okay. I didn't mean to startle you. But we try to welcome everybody. So I think we need a motion to take this under advisement.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Thank you, Attorney Preston. Thank you. We'll see you in the future. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, our next agenda item is election of officers. I will now turn it over to Solicitor Joe Zader.
Thank you, Mr. Height. Just for information for the Planning Commission and members of the public, there are 3 positions that need to be voted on this evening: the chair, the vice chair, and the secretary of the Planning Commission. And the way this will work is we'll begin with the chair position, and we'll take nominations from the Planning Commission. And what's required is that a person be selected for each position by a majority vote of those present here this evening. And I'm just counting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members present. So a vote of 4 would be what is necessary to elect someone. And that's important because not only is that the legal requirement, but when a nomination is made, there'll be a second, presumably, and a vote. So the first time someone receives 4 votes, that person will be elected, and we would not move on with other nominations for that position. So when you hear a nomination, if you really have your heart set on someone else being in that position, then it's probably incumbent upon you to vote no, simply because you may not have an opportunity. But that's personal preference, and it's up to you as the Planning Commission members to decide who you feel are the persons most appropriate for these positions. So are there any questions about the procedure before we begin? No questions. Any questions from the public? Mr. Adams, I see you have a question, sir.
Right. I just wanted to ask the question, are there any members here who cannot serve as officers?
No. No. The fact that certain members are new to the Planning Commission, the fact that Commissioner Kelly is also on the Board of Commissioners are not disqualifiers. Very good. Okay, that said, the first position that we will take nominations for will be the position of Chair of the Planning Commission.
I'd like to nominate David Wilson.
We have a nomination for David Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. I will call for the vote.
Be a roll call vote.
Roll call? Very good. Bear with me, please, as I just try to remember by his name for the new members. Mr. Dugan, how do you vote?
Or you can have Greg call.
Okay, Greg, please do.
Absolutely. Trevor Dunbach.
I vote yes.
Tim Dugan.
Yes.
Andrew Flagg.
Yes.
Brian Height.
Aye.
Diane Kelly.
Aye.
Mark Luth.
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
7-0.
7-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Wilson. You are the chair of the Planning Commission.
He's quick on it.
The next position to be voted on would be the vice chair. Do I have a nomination from the Planning Commission?
I'd like to nominate Brian Height.
We have a nomination for Brian Height for vice chair. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Kelly. Mr. Adams, please.
Trevor Dunbach,
Yes.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Andrew Flagg,
Yes.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Height. The next and final position to be voted on this evening is that of Secretary of the Planning Commission. Do I have a nomination?
I'll nominate Mark Luth. Just based on seniority. Could have nominated you. I'm sorry.
We have a nomination for Mr. Luth. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Mr. Adams, if you'd take a vote, please.
Trevor Dunbach,
Yes.
Tim Dugan,
Aye.
Andrew Flagg,
Yes.
Brian Height,
Aye.
Diane Kelly,
Aye.
Mark Luth,
Aye.
David Wilson.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Congratulations, Mr. Luth. The slate of officers has now been selected for the Planning Commission. And if I recall correctly, based on what Mr. Adams had said at another occasion, this carries through until December when there is another vote in our usual sequence of vote taking. Very good. So with that said, I will turn the meeting back to our chair, who is now Mr. Wilson.
All right. That was agenda item number 6. So now we're on agenda item number 7, the transportation infrastructure update. I'll hand it off to.
Thank you. Unfortunately, with us having a meeting last week, I have no new information to report. We'll have a report next month.
All I can say is that the public comment period for the Transportation Improvement Program still goes until May 31st. So comment early and often. Thank you.
Any comments or questions from the public? No? Okay. Agenda item number 8, comp plan update. Dave Manhart.
Same thing as before. We have the next meeting June 7th. We'll be reviewing community utilities, community facilities, and housing.
Any comments or questions from the audience? Nope. All right. Agenda item number 9, courtesy of the floor. Does anyone in the audience have any comments or questions or any discussion items? Anyone online? All right, we're at the last item, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Quick decision.
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.